The Bank of Canada has raised their prime lending rate by 50 basis points. Will they continue to raise rates, or will we see negative effects in the market? Let's find out.
This is the Saskatchewan Real Estate Podcast, the show that highlights Saskatchewan real estate. Looking to buy your first house, your next investment property? Subscribe to never miss an episode. Here's your host, Ron Quaroni.
Hello everyone, my name is Ron Quaroni, your Saskatchewan mortgage professional, and as I said, today we're going to be talking about the Bank of Canada raising their prime lending rate by 50 basis points. So a lot of people have questions about these rate hikes and how they're going to affect specifically their mortgages, and I think more importantly, will these rate hikes continue throughout the year? So I would preface this that I'm not an economist, I am a mortgage professional, so I do follow the rate hikes and the different news around these things very closely. And a lot of the information that I'm going to talk about is based on what I'm reading in the news, what I'm seeing from the Bank of Canada, and my own personal opinion. If you are looking for a more specialized view of your specific situation, please feel free to reach out to me or your own bank or mortgage professional. Okay, so this last week, the Bank of Canada met for their April meeting to determine their prime lending rate. So for anyone who does not know, the Bank of Canada meets 8 times per year. At their first meeting this year, they did not change the rate at all. At their second meeting, there was a 25 basis point increase. At their very last meeting here in April, there was a 50 basis point increase, effectively increasing the rate by 0.5%. So by the Bank of Canada raising this prime lending rate, it is now more expensive for people who are in variable rate mortgages or people who are hoping to enter the market in variable rate mortgages. They effectively have to pay 0.5% more, which equates to about $12.50 for every $100,000 in mortgage amount. If you have a home equity line of credit, that's also going to be more expensive if you are holding a balance on that. It is my belief that the Bank of Canada is going to continue to raise rates. Because of record inflation, the Bank of Canada needs to do something to try and get this inflation back in check. Now, the reason that we are seeing some of this inflation is an increase in the money supply, something the Bank of Canada had to do at the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic to help boost the economy. Now, the big question is, if we do see another recession, which some economists are saying we could see, will the Bank of Canada continue on these rate hikes? So it's my opinion that if the Canadian economy sees negative effects from these rate hikes, the Bank of Canada will be forced into a position where they're either having to scrap previously announced rate hikes for later on in the year, or they will even have to reverse course to save the Canadian economy. So my prediction for what is going to happen is going to determine a lot on what happens with the Canadian economy. If oil and gas remain strong as we've seen because of the war in Russia versus the Ukraine, I think oil and gas is going to be very strong, which is going to help the Canadian economy and allow the Bank of Canada to perform a few more rate hikes. If we don't see a very negative effect from this recent 50 basis point hike, I would predict the Bank of Canada may do another 50 basis point hike at their next meeting. If we see a slowing down of the economy, the Bank of Canada, I think, will either do a 25 basis point rate hike or they will hold off until they can measure what is going to happen. Now, I do think the Bank of Canada does do some telegraphing with their rate hikes to judge what the market is going to perceive from this. They do a lot of announcing of what is to come. So I think the Bank of Canada is going to announce an aggressive rate hike and see how the market reacts. If the market reacts very badly to an announcement of a big rate hike, I would foresee that they might not raise it as much or not at all. If they announce there's going to be a big rate hike, it's possible that the market will accept that, then I think they might move forward. A really important topic to obviously talk about with rate hikes is, should I go fixed or variable if I'm either entering the housing market or I'm renewing an existing mortgage? So I think it's important to make some distinctions of why you might go fixed and why you might go variable. Most people that I would recommend go variable is to save on the prepayment calculation if you end up breaking your mortgage. It's a much better calculation than if you take a fixed rate mortgage. So for most people, if you are looking at some uncertainty, whether that's you're entering the housing market or you plan on selling maybe an existing property, a variable rate might still be the way that you should be leaning, even in a time where variable rates are going to see an increase. For someone who is looking at a fixed rate, I would recommend that for folks who are, they can't handle any increase in their monthly cost. Perhaps you're a person who is older and any increase in a variable rate up and above what the fixed rate is now would really hinder them. In this case, maybe having a fixed locked-in payment would be the best, but of course we always have to calculate many variables with this, so I would say touch base with your mortgage broker, your bank specialist, and if you do have any questions on that side, feel free to reach out to me. Let me know in the comments what you think. Will the Bank of Canada continue on this aggressive rate hike scenario, or are they going to have to backtrack and hold the line or even go back and lower these rates again due to the negative effect it has on the economy? Let me know. This has been the Saskatchewan Real Estate Podcast. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you have, do me a favor and hit the like and subscribe button. If you're looking for a little more information on Saskatchewan real estate or potentially entering the housing market, feel free to check out my social channels in the description. As always, I'm Ron Quaroni, your Saskatchewan mortgage professional. Until next week, have a great night. Have a great week. Should I do that again? I said have a great night.